So a friend of mine, you had just done some work on his property that he was about to sell, and he had highly recommended you. So that's when I reached out to you, and it turned into a little bit bigger project than we started, but I think the result speaks for itself. We're the original homeowner, so the house is 18 years old. You know, you get cracks in the stucco. You have spots under the roof line in the gutters where the seals have separated. Clearly it makes sense to repair some of those things. This was the opportunity, and we determined it made sense for us to enjoy some of that work as opposed to doing it just before we sell. So I met with Meg, the color consultant, and she spent a couple hours over here as we went through what our ideas were in terms of color scheme. And then she was pretty quickly able to focus down on a couple different palettes for us to choose from. Then we went and got sample paints, did painted cardboard as she recommended of big pieces, and then moved them around outside and took a look at them in the sun and the shade so we could kind of get a better feel for what they would look like when you actually put it on the house, which obviously is a great idea because the little swatch of color doesn't tell you really what it looks like.
We serviced a lot of stucco patches. There were a lot of vertical cracks, horizontal cracks, and we did a combination of the elastomeric caulking and then also original real stucco patches before we painted over the top.
There was an extra color of trim, I think, around the roof lines, the garage doors, which really didn't seem to be necessary anymore. And clearly, as I looked more around the rest of the houses around here, you didn't see that very much. So we cut one of those out, which took a little less focus on the garage doors, which is always an important thing. You know, the last thing I want is my garage doors to be the focus of the front of my house.
We also serviced the decks. So they were pretty rough, and we deep sanded all of the decks. There was 3 of them. And then we chose a semi-transparent stain on the floor. And then we did semi-solid on the railings because they were definitely weathered more than the floor areas. We also pulled off the side door, deep sanded it to a new wood profile, and then oil stained it and then clear coated it. We stuck it back on the home, looks lovely on the back. We painted the garage door, the back side, and then we also deep sanded the entry door. There's a lot of dog scratches on there. Did the gutters and the fascia the same color, so it had a nice pop to it and stood out.
I was surprised how quickly, once we got started, everything got done. So it was much less inconvenience on us, given that we were living in the house at the same time.
It was a great project, and thanks again, George, for having us out. We really appreciate you and Lori, and until later,
Get limed.